Hello, everyone, and welcome to Two Show Day. I'm your host, Diana Shabai Booker, and I am joined today by my friend, Brittany Leigh Glenn. Hello. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for being here.
I do have to say, I wanted to do this on camera before we start. I have a little gift for you.
Oh, you have a gift for me?
Yes, this is something that I do for shows. I've started doing this recently when I can. I make little friendship bracelets for people, and I made you one that says Two Show Day, and it has your colors in it.
That's my colors.
So
that is so
you
sweet.
officially have a bracelet
right now. You know, honestly, today I was like, I need something.
You need a little
here.
bling in your
life.
life.
I got
yes.
It. Thank you.
So now we have some friendship bracelets.
I love it. Oh my God. So thoughtful. I don't even know how to continue with the show now.
I'm sorry. I totally distracted you. You're like, what are you saying already? I didn't ask you anything.
So your friendship bracelet making career, when did this start?
This started, let's see, about a year and a half ago. I have an LLC now.
Oh my God.
No, totally joking.
No, you don't? Oh, okay. About to send people to your Etsy store. Okay. Yeah. This is a theater and arts podcast. So
yes.
Let's start there.
No more bracelets.
I'm going to put that away until the second half. Yeah. So how did you first get into the arts?
So I was actually a late bloomer in the arts world. I became interested in theater when I was very young. I would say my dad, actually both my parents took me to a production of Cats when I was like 7. So I am a Cats fan. I know that's really controversial, but it was just my first musical.
My feelings about Cats aside, it's very funny to me how many people's first musical is Cats.
Yes.
Because people are like, think it's a kid's show, I guess, and it's like not family friendly.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't think of I'm gonna take my 7-year-old to go see Cats, because it could be scary.
Well, yes, especially because I feel like a lot of millennials especially, their first show was Cats, because that was like the longest running Broadway show for a really long time, and so like they came on tour. I didn't see it on Broadway, but they took me here at Proctor's.
Sure.
And so they took me to see Cats, and I was like singing and dancing, and I was a big animal fan, so I was like singing and dancing animals, of course. So like I wrote about it in my second grade journal the next day at school, and it was lovely. So that was my first exposure to musical theater specifically, and I was just always like a weird kid, you know, like always performing things, always putting on skits with my friends.
Yeah.
And I just always had this sort of like theatrical vibe about me, but never really did theater until college, actually.
Okay.
So I ended up, where do I want to start? So fast forward to freshman year of college, we're at orientation, and I am registering for classes. And you have to take a public speaking gen ed. Oh, okay. And I'm on the computer, and I see that you can either take, it's like public speaking 1, public speaking 2, or intro to acting. And I was like, do I want to give speeches about things I don't care about, or do I want to do improv?
Right.
Most people wouldn't choose improv, but I chose improv. So I signed up for that, and then I had a teacher who just really, really believed in me. And his name was Derek Hopkins. Hi, Derek. Shout out to Derek. And he was like, you should really do this. You should audition for things. The school puts on shows. Yeah. And so my first ever production was like a 1-act festival up at school. And then after that, I started getting into like the school's musicals and the theater club's musicals and things like that. So,
wow.
But I mean, up until then, I had no idea that I had any kind of talent. I don't know that I did then either, but I pretended that I did and had a lot of fun doing it. So I think that's the main thing. Yeah. So and then the rest is history. I just didn't stop doing musicals after that.
Yeah, that's amazing. Did you have like a Ring of Keys sort of moment where you were doing something and you were like, oh yeah, I want to continue doing this?
Let's see. I would say, I don't know that I had. I was gonna
say, if the answer is no, that is fine too. Yeah.
Yeah, I think my main, the biggest thing for me, I saw when I was in 6th grade, we saw a production of Wait Until Dark that Nisty was putting on back when Nisty was a thing. And I remember seeing that show and watching them do theater magic in front of my eyes and looking at this woman on stage and thinking, I have to do that one day. So that was probably, honestly, my Ring of Keys moment. Was seeing her do that. And she was the only woman in the whole play, except for the young girl. But I was like, ooh, that looks like something that I have to do. Like, I need to be on stage. And, you know, this was a seeing woman playing a blind woman. And just like her talent was amazing. So I was just immediately floored by the theater magic. So absolutely. That was my Ring of Keys.
I have another question about Wait Until Dark, so we'll come back to that later.
Of course.
Did you have a first favorite show?
Probably Cats. But like when I got older, I started liking shows. I did love Chicago. Chicago was a big origin story for me, which I know we're going to talk about. Because I saw the movie and I was this close to turning it off because I hated it. And then it's the part where we can get into this later if you want, but like it's the part where Roxy like pretends to faint and she's like, oh, I only hope the fall didn't hurt the baby. And I was like, I can't turn this off now. Like, what do you say? Like, okay, I have to figure out, I have to see what happens from here. So then I kept watching, and then the Hot Honey Rag happened, and I was like, okay, well now I have to learn this. So then I spent hours and hours in my bedroom learning the choreography. And so Chicago was a big one.
Yeah, I love that. And the Chicago movie is like incredible.
It's incredible. Yeah. And you know what's funny? I don't love the Broadway version. Yeah. I'm not a huge fan. Maybe I need to see it again.
I know. We'll get into this, but I saw the stage production when it was on tour here last year or 2 years ago. And there are like all these songs in it that aren't in the movie. Yeah. And some of it's like, I get why they cut this. This is kind of this is slowing stuff down here. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, too, what was a big selling point for me in terms of like actually doing musicals, I became extremely obsessed with watching like the bonus features on DVDs. Oh, okay. So Cats had one when the Cats DVD came out. I spent a lot of time watching that.
Is that like the pro shot version with Betty Buckley?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And like they had behind the scenes like rehearsal footage. Okay. And then Chicago had the same thing of like Renee Zellweger and Richard Gere rehearsing before the movie. And I remember just thinking how cool that was and like really romanticizing wearing rehearsal outfits. And like I remember when I first started theater, I had to like go out and buy myself a bunch of like cool rehearsal outfits that these people were wearing on the DVD extras. So which like ended up being like 90s outfits, because that's what I was watching at the time, was like, or like 80s actually. Right. But yeah, so I don't know. I wanted to be cool. I wanted to be like the cool theater kids, which like none of us are cool.
No. And you show up to rehearsal and everyone is in the baggiest clothes they've ever seen. Yeah. Everything is holes and they're just like,
especially in college, like just rolled out of bed, probably hungover, 100%. And I was like, this is nothing like the DVD extras.
Cats lied to me.
Yeah, but I still loved it nonetheless.
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful. I'm glad Cats did some good in the world.
Yes.
So this checks off the center square in my bingo card. You and I met on Spring Awakening.
Yes.
You were the choreographer. How did you get into doing that?
So
I know you don't do it a lot, but I'm curious about the process.
I am the most mediocre pedestrian choreographer you'll ever meet, because I'm not trained, and I don't actually like pride myself on being like an amazing choreographer. But I started doing this because my friend Tyler in college needed a choreographer for Pippin.
Okay.
And I was like, I'll do it. So because I'm a yes woman, you know, I'll try anything once. So I was like, sure, I'll choreograph your show, even though I have no professional dance training and I have never done this in my life. So it was me and one other person, and I think Tyler maybe choreographed something as well. But so I started as like a favor, even though I wanted to do it. And then it just kind of like spiraled from there. Whenever someone would need a choreographer, if it was within my scope of practice, I was like, sure, I'll do it. So I think my first show here in the Capital Region I did was Young Frankenstein, I believe.
Okay.
And then after that, I just sort of started getting asked to do other things. And I was trying to pull out of that world for a while because I don't really, it's not that I don't enjoy it. There are parts that I really do enjoy. It's just I have imposter syndrome and, you know, prefer to be an actor.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, my start was with Pippin and Young Frankenstein.
Okay. Well, I'm going to ask you more questions about choreo. So
of course.
Here we go. So like my left brain just can't understand how choreographers can like pull pieces from nothing and put it together. Like I've directed a little bit, so I understand like the logic of that is like this person needs to go from point A to point B and like these things need to happen in the scene. But choreo is like, even in a show that's like very realistic, for lack of a better word, it's like when you're in a number, you're in this fantasy land and like things are different.
Yeah.
So how do you start choreographing a piece?
So I don't know how much of this you got to witness during Spring Awakening, but there were a couple of numbers where I just had the cast sit down and listen to the song and see what they noticed.
Right.
And that's kind of my approach too, which is to listen to the song, to listen to all the different instruments and figure out what the piece is trying to communicate.
Okay.
And figure out movements that match that, essentially. And I think the biggest thing, I can't talk about Spring Awakening too much because I had a lot of challenges during that production. I had like choreographer's block and was just really struggling. But I think when I'm at my best, I can really sit down and listen to a song and say, how can I create movement that the actors are organically going to want to do when they hear this music.
Okay.
So I would sit down and I would say, what is my body pulled to do? Like, what does my body want to do when I hear this drum riff or this, guitar riff or whatever? Am I feeling angry? Am I feeling excited? Do I want to jump up and down and shake out my arms and whatever? I'm thinking about Hair in particular. I think that was my favorite show to choreograph.
Yeah, that would be a super fun show to do. Yeah.
Yeah. So I kind of just think about what I organically want to do when I think about what's going on in the number and what the character also might want to do. And if it's an ensemble piece, I start with the movements. And if it's an ensemble piece, I will literally like sit here and draw formations based on how many people are in the cast and say like, okay, this is going to be a triangle. This is going to be a half circle. This is going to be wherever you want to go.
Yeah.
And I kind of just place the actors in those spots. Whoopsies. So that's kind of my go-to formula, I guess.
Okay.
But I'm sure there are other way more experienced dancers and choreographers that have a different system that works way better than mine.
Well, I'm always interested in like, I hate this term, but self-taught people. Like that's my approach to stage management too. Someone took a chance on me one day and like I didn't go to school for theater at all. I would just really liked the Les Mis movie when I was 17 with Hugh Jackman and Russell Crowe. And then I had a big Les Mis thing. And then I liked other theater. And then just someone took a chance on me. And now here I am in a different country hosting a podcast.
Yeah.
So I'm always curious to see, like, I love all the different paths people can take to theater. And I don't think you have to necessarily be, professionally trained to be good at something.
Especially in community theater.
Right.
But I find that amazing that you're self-taught because I've watched you stage manage before and you're so organized and like...
Well, that's just the thing.
Strict.
Like, that's why I don't like the phrase self-taught because it's like I've had like my first director, Nikki Kwam. What's up, Nikki Kwam? So patient with me. I had no idea what I was doing. And she was just like, nope, this is what we have to do. And I've had so many great directors and other teachers and other people who have stage managed that I've talked to that have given me tips. And like, I am only good because I've stolen from 1,000 other people that I thought, oh, that's a good idea. And then I worked that into this spreadsheet and here we are. So Yeah.
But that's so great. Like, you just learn from people along the way.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's like the whole of community theater too, is the more you do it, just the more people you know and the more fun you have, but just the more experienced you are, right? And there's sort of, hopefully there's no pressure to like be a certain way. And
that's the other thing I was going to say. Luckily, my school I had a smaller theater program. You know, people don't necessarily seek out the school for theater, but there were a lot of theater people there.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say it was competitive. So I really lucked out in that sense because I got to kind of get my hands on anything I wanted.
Sure.
And I was able to get into shows because it wasn't that competitive, you know? So lucky for me, it was just a very small theater program and they needed people. So they took a chance on little old me.
There you go.
So I got to learn from other people while also having imposter syndrome. So,
well, you have no reason to have imposter syndrome. So let's talk about your work as an actor. So Wait Until Dark, we mentioned this before. That was last year?
Yes, last
March
February,
2014? 2014. Yeah.
2024.
2024. I don't know what year it is.
I would love to be back in 2014. I'd be 24 years old and I would be thriving.
Oh my God. What I would be, first year of college, I'd be 19. I'd be working at Best Buy still, which is my first job.
Good for you.
I don't want to be there anymore.
I forget you're younger than me sometimes.
I read older.
You do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm freshly 30 this year. So,
yeah,
but
very mature.
I've read 30 a long time, I think. Okay. So Wait Until Dark, I really loved that role, and seeing that production that you were in at Curtain Call was my first exposure to the story at all.
Really?
Yeah. I think I watched the movie after your version. And I love a mystery. I love suspense. I was like all about that. And I think the like suspenseful parts were done super well, and the surprises were kept hidden until they're not anymore. But as you mentioned, the main character in the story is a blind woman. And remind me of the character's name.
Susan.
Yes. And that's who you played. So talk to me about how you prepared for that.
So I actually co-directed that show when I was in college.
Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes I forget about that because it was so long ago, and like it was a blast. We had a great time. Yeah. It was so much work, and like I think I just dissociated through a lot of it. But it was very rewarding. And one of my really good friends, Megan, played Susan. And I actually reached out to her and I said, what was helpful for you when you played the role? And she said, we had done a lot of exercises where we blindfolded her and had her move around the set so she could feel like how her body moves as someone who can't see.
Right.
And I remember kind of taking notes from her in that, you know, it's really important to learn how your body organically moves when you genuinely can't see. You can't just pretend not to see.
Right.
Because you touch things a little extra and you maybe hold your hand out a little bit farther and things like that. So that was really helpful. My biggest thing, I was going to do the show without my contacts in, but then I forget who said it to me. I think it was someone in our cast. They were like, that's really stupid. And I was like, why? And they were like, well, because we're going to be doing all these scenes in the dark and you're going to want to be able to actually see. So that's a safety concern if you take your contacts out. Right. And I was like, no, you're right. You're so right for that. So I didn't do that.
Okay.
I survived to tell the tale. But there is a way where you can like defocus or unfocus your eyes. And I ended up doing that. And you kind of just like don't, like I'm doing it to you right now. I'm kind of like unfocusing my eyes, but I'm still looking at the camera, but I'm not looking at you.
Right.
So there's a way to do that because a blind person will, you know, kind of, they won't really know where to look most of the time. It depends on where you are on the spectrum of being able to see versus not. But, I just sort of looked a little off and imagined what it would be like to have my hands as my eyes, basically. So everything, I reached out for everything, you know, preemptively, and one of the biggest challenges, I had to like dial this phone number, but like really fast. And I was like, but Steve Fletcher was our director. I was like, Steve, if I'm blind, it's going to take me a lot longer. He's like, Brittany, you're not really blind. And this is theater. And I was like, oh yeah, that's right. He's like, just do like 4 numbers. And I'm like, okay, fine. So I did like 4 numbers. So there, you know, it was, without getting too far into the weeds, it was a good balance of trying to figure out how a blind person would actually move versus what needs to be compromised for the sake of not making the show 5 hours long,
right.
You know?
Right. Yeah. And the set was like, there are stairs coming down, and I feel like there was like sort of like a half step from the kitchen to the living room.
Yeah.
Like, so there's like, it's not like an accessible apartment.
Yeah.
It's whatever the setting was. It's like New York in the 60s or something like that.
Yeah,
Or at least the movie
apartment
is.
in New York in the 60s.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not, there are no ramps. There is nothing here. It's like on top of all the things the woman Susie is going through in this show, like being literally robbed blind, like just having to adapt in a world that is not made for her. It's a crazy, incredible story to watch, and I loved that production. So
it was like, if I could go back and do that again, I would do it 1,000 times over because it was just such a very unique theater experience and a very unique role that not a lot of people get to play because there are not a lot of roles like that.
Right.
And it was such a challenge as an actor, but also like really, really fun. And our whole cast was like amazing to work with.
Absolutely.
We had the best time. So yeah.
Oh, good.
It was really fun.
Good. I also wanted to talk about falsettos. We've had Julian and Michael on the show before, so we know what falsettos is about. But you played Trina, and she is the only woman character throughout the whole thing. We have the lesbians from next door come in the second act, of course. But I'm really curious to hear what that show was like from the female perspective. I know there was a woman director too, but sometimes I feel like in that show, Trina is not the villain, but like the antagonist sometimes. But I think I sympathize the most with her.
I don't think I necessarily view her as the antagonist either. I think she is an anxious mom who's doing her best. I definitely think that there are mistakes that she makes along the way. But that's part of being a mom. I'm not a mom, but you know, I have a lot of friends who are moms, and I've worked with a lot of children in my life. And part of being a mom is that you also are a human at the same time that is also a mom. So you can't be perfect 100% of the time.
Right.
And I really tried to channel that with her, which is like, she's doing her best. But like, what was helpful for me was to think about her parents and how she was raised and how it has influenced. I mean, I'm a mental health counselor and I work with parents. Right. So I took the family therapy approach to this, which is, you know, I kind of pretended like when I was doing research, I pretended like I was a therapist who was helping Trina. And I sort of did this thing where I did a biopsychosocial analysis of her.
I love this.
And why she is the way that she is. And it helped me gain a lot of empathy for her character in moments when I was like, whoa, what are you doing? Right. Like, you're going to mess up your kid, or, you know, that thing you said was messed up. So I think... I don't know. I'm the worst person to talk to about like villains and antagonists because I can empathize with almost everyone in any show.
Well, that's amazing.
But playing Trina, I think I just imagined, I know a lot of very anxious mothers in my life, and specifically my mom. I love my mom. And like she's a great, wonderful mom.
Yes.
But my mom is the kind of person who, like, everything's fine, you know, like, just look on the bright side. Everything's fine, silver lining. And that's very much like Trina. So I pulled a lot of influence from my own mother in that inspiration as well, because I really wanted to convey that, like, her job is to hold everything up and like make a happy home and make everything look like it's okay. Because that's very evident in some of her lyrics. So that was, I feel like I left the show every night and I had to like just do a deep breath in my car because like my shoulders were like up to my ears playing this mom that's like this all the time.
Right.
And so I just really had to put myself in the mindset of being this neurotic mother.
Right.
Who's just trying to come off as like, everything's fine. It's fine. My husband left me for another man. It's fine.
Yeah. No, that's just another role that's like amazing to me. And that story is amazing from like, you can cut it a million different ways, right? You can cut it from, I'm forgetting everybody's name right now. Marvin. Marvin and Whizzer. You can cut it from their perspective. You can cut it from Jason's perspective. You can cut it from Trina and Mendel. Like, there are so many characters that you can relate to in this show. But I don't know, something about Trina just pulls her. Maybe it just is because I'm also a woman and that I relate to that. But like, my parents also got divorced when I was a teenager, so it's like I get a lot of that sort of thing. And like, we still have to do graduations together, and you know, all this kind of thing you have to do for the kid. And I love that Trina is, like, her main characteristic is that she's a mom and, you know, trying to be a wife too and keep this house together. But she's also like a very sexual person, and that is within the show. And I love that she gets this like more well-rounded characterization, as opposed to just like, she's the bitch mom. Like, there's so much to her that isn't that. Yeah.
That's interesting that you say that thing about your parents being divorced and how you found something to relate to in that, because I really do think that there is something in the show for everyone.
Absolutely.
It's a very human story, and there's something beautiful in that it just kind of encapsulates the human experience. So that's one of my favorite parts about the whole show.
Yeah. It really felt like, I mean, I wasn't a part of it. I just saw it one night, but it felt like the whole cast was like a big
we
unit.
were obsessed with each other. 100%. We had the most fun backstage too. We had like a meme contest that I put together. We had a board that Michael put up that was like flubbed lines on stage, and it became like a thing where every time we'd flub a line, we'd be like, oh, another one for the board.
I gotta remember that.
Charlie
one.
would
That's
like
funny.
draw pictures on it. It was so funny.
Oh my god, that's amazing. Okay, quick dog mom sidebar. You are also a dog mom.
I am also a dog mom.
Please tell me everything about Lulu. How did you get her? How did she get her name? How is she?
She's the best. Okay, so it's funny. I was walking my dog this morning. I was like, how can I work my dog into the conversation tonight? Because
no need. I will ask.
And so I rescued Lulu from the Peru APF. Peru APF? Yeah, up in Plattsburgh, New York.
Okay.
And I was originally looking for a therapy dog so I could bring her to work, but she's not a therapy dog at all. So she's just my little therapy dog, my emotional support animal, unofficially, of course. But yeah, so I rescued her. She was unfortunately part of a like neglect case, and the owners were put on a do not adopt list, thankfully. But so I went to the shelter and I said, I'm looking for a dog that's a potential candidate for a therapy dog. And they took me right over to her, and like, we just fell in love with each other. I'm obsessed with this dog. And she actually comes to the theater with me sometimes, which is awesome. She's the cast's emotional support animal sometimes, so that's nice. What other questions were there? I forgot what else you asked already.
Did she come with the name Lulu, or did you name her?
She came with Lucy.
Okay.
But every dog, no offense to anyone if your dog's name is Lucy, but everybody is naming their dog Lucy right now.
Sure.
And I actually was considering getting a puppy for a little while, like adopting a puppy, but still getting a puppy. But then I was like, I don't have the lifestyle for a puppy.
Yeah, you need to dedicate some time. Yeah.
I was a single woman at the time, and I was like, I live alone, like I need to, and I don't work from home. I need to get a full-grown dog.
Right.
So, but when I was considering getting a puppy, I was like, okay, what are my top puppy names? Like, it was just fun to come up with puppy names. And at the top of the female puppy list was Lulu, because I love the musical Waitress.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just thought that was so cute.
Aww.
So when they brought me to her and they told me her name was Lucy, I was like, okay, cute, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, every dog's name is Lucy, but whatever. But then the lady who worked there was kind of getting her on a leash to help me like get her set up to take her on a walk to see if she's a good fit for me. And she called her Lulu. And I was like, oh my God, it's fate. I was like, I have to adopt this dog now. So Yeah, so she's Lulu.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, my dogs also have very generic names. So they're Toby and Lola. But it's like...
I thought you were going to say your dog's name is Lucy. I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You can just kick me out now.
I have a human family member named Lucy. So that name is off the table for pets.
Yeah,
for me.
Fair.
But Lola's also named after a musical. She's named after Lola and Kinky Boots.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I was going to say Damn Yankees.
I know there are a lot of Lolas, and there's a lot of songs about Lolas, and she gets all of them. But I have a Kinky Boots poster on my wall, so when we were thinking of names, I was like, what about Lola? And there we go. And Toby came with the name Toby. Actually, one of the house managers here, she and her sister got a puppy, and it just turned out to be too much for them. They were just too busy, and they said, oh, we know your dog people, and his name was Toby, and Jeremiah had always wanted a boxer named Toby, and then a week later, he's in our house and terrorizing Lola. We've had him for 4 years, and Lola's almost 8. And I know, the babies.
Just dog mom things. We love them.
Any excuse to talk about my dogs.
Yes.
I will.
Oh, I'll talk about dogs anytime.
Absolutely. This is a dog podcast now.
Yes, dog-friendly podcast. We love it.
All right, let's get into our shows today.
Yay!
So we teased a little bit at the beginning what our shows are, but guest goes first. So what are you going to talk about today?
I would love to talk about Cabaret.
Cabaret. What a great show.
Is, if not my favorite musical, one of my top 3, but I'm pretty sure it's my favorite.
Yeah. I was trying to, when I went through trying to look for companion pieces, I was like, Chicago's obvious. And I end up doing Chicago. We'll talk about that later. But I was like trying to look at other musicals of that era, and it's just like there is almost no other musical out there that is as singular and as important to the musical canon as Cabaret. That's like sort of where the golden age ended too. Like some people say it ends with the end of Rodgers and Hammerstein. Some people say it ends with Fiddler, and Cabaret was 66.
Yes.
So it's like, okay, and then we get into like Hair, and we get into all these other like really important shows. But like Cabaret was sort of one of the first where it was like, haha, we're a fun musical. Nope, just kidding. This is about Nazis.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? Not funny, but interesting about Cabaret versus Hair or other musicals that make political statements is that this one is, I was thinking about this earlier today too, quite literally timeless.
Yeah.
Because it's not really about the Nazis.
Right.
It is, but it isn't. It's about everything in between. What do you do when your political climate is becoming hostile and your friends are showing their true colors and things like that?
Yeah.
And I was obviously thinking about that as it relates to our political climate today. And I was like, I just can't imagine a world where this show is not relevant.
Right.
I don't think this show will ever be irrelevant.
Right.
Which is the opposite of what I just said.
No, and it like, well, it's like with every revival, it becomes like, I don't want to say relevant again because that's saying that word too many times. But
Can I
like,
drink out of this?
yeah, it's for
if
you.
It's just for show.
No, it's for you. There's water in it. I even washed it today. No, but like every revival is important, right? Like we get the 90s revival that but like made Alan Cumming a big star. And then we get that sort of sexy version of the MC that's like part of it. And then this revival now too is like weird and doing other things. And it's like Cabaret always has something to say no matter where we are in the historical timeline.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So tell me about it. Who wrote it? When did it premiere?
Yeah, so Cabaret was, I have to look at my notes for this for years because I'm horrible. I was never a history buff. So Cabaret, the Broadway version, premiered in, as you said, 1966, starring Jill Hayworth and Joel Grey. But it was actually based on, so the original was a book called Goodbye to Berlin. And that was written in 1939. And then I Am a Camera was the play that was based off of the book, which was written in 1951. And I've read both of those. I've done the show twice. Okay. Playing Sally both times. And so I did a lot of research for the show, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of similarities, but there's also there's like a lot of differences too. Like Fraulein Schneider is the innkeeper, and she is in the book, I believe. It's either the book or the play, but she's like a Nazi. She has a lot of like anti-Semitism going on with her. So it's
that's a big change to the musical. Then
yeah. So that obviously changed for the musical.
Yeah.
And then they did a 1998 revival with Natasha Richardson and Alan Cumming. And the book was written by Joe Masteroff, and the music and lyrics were by Kander and Ebb. And I didn't write down who originally directed and choreographed it, but
I want to say it's Hal Prince.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think you're right. And then the movie came out. I thought I wrote that down too.
1972.
Thank you. The movie came out in 1972. I did my research. Fun fact, I've never actually seen the movie.
Oh, really?
I rebelled against the movie.
Okay.
I don't know why. There's no reason for me to not see it.
Yeah,
I just didn't see it.
It's incredible. It's Bob Fosse directed it and won an Oscar for that, and Liza Minnelli plays Sally, and she won an Oscar for that too.
I'm sure she's amazing.
Yeah,
and obviously Bob Fosse's amazing. But
it's very funny. I was looking up Cabaret, and she won this Oscar for Cabaret, but she's done she has very few film credits. She was like, great, check that one off,
done. So the show follows one of our main characters, Cliff. He goes to Berlin to write a novel, very Moulin Rouge-esque. He's a writer. So he goes to Berlin to write a novel. He's looking for inspiration, and the first person he meets is this man named Ernst on a train on the way there. And Ernst is this smuggler. Spoiler, later he turns out to be a Nazi. And so this is we kind of see, in my opinion, we see this world through Cliff's eyes. He's this innocent, all-American guy who goes to Berlin, and he experiences this nightclub life. And so he goes to this place called the Kit Kat Club, meets Sally, but he also meets... I wrote, also meets some boys. And it depends on the production, but, he at least kisses one of them. Depends on the production with how far you want to go with that.
Yeah, Cliff's sexuality is definitely...
fluid, depending on who directs it, produces it, etc. But ultimately, he's kind of entranced with this woman named Sally. And in the book, I will die on this hill, Sally is not supposed to be talented.
I agree, yes.
And so he falls in love with this woman named Sally. She's supposed to be the least talented person in the whole Kit Kat Club, but there's something about her that keeps her employed, which is what I think is interesting about Sally.
Yes.
So he meets this woman named Sally, ends up making his way into her dressing room, and things kind of develop between them, and she's basically live a little, oh, you're this American, everything's new and shiny to her.
Right.
And then I'm getting off track here. I got to get my timeline right. He stays at Fräulein Schneider's hotel, inn, whatever you want to call it.
Boarding house.
Boarding house, yeah. And so I could go into the whole synopsis of this, but most people know the story. But basically, it's about this guy who's really discovering, he's getting swept up in all these German politics while also trying to write a novel, but also seeing this whole free side and this free side of the world. And the Kit Kat Club is really his introduction to this there's a lot of sexuality that's being explored there. There's a lot of sex, drugs, and rock and roll happening at the Kit Kat Club, and he seems to be this very innocent man. Yeah, and so I think he's just kind of swept up in all of this, and he's whoa, what am I doing here? Right. And the thing I find interesting about Cabaret is that the Kit Kat Club is what I envision as today's gay bars. It's a sanctuary for people who are looking to escape the outside world. And what I find interesting about that is there's so much going on with politics, and obviously it was during Nazi Germany, so like there's a lot of political stuff going on, and Sally's character kind of just chooses to remain blind to all of it. There's a line in there and she's like, what do I care about politics? Like, we're just out here thriving, I'm here singing at this nightclub, what do I care about politics? And so as I was sitting down thinking about it, I was thinking about this idea of like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And interrupt me if I'm getting like off topic
I love
like
it.
if I'm confusing you. But I was thinking about it from that point of view because I was like, what is motivating these characters? Because so much happens. Fraulein Schneider ends up, spoiler if you've never seen it, Fraulein Schneider ends up breaking things off with Herr Schultz because he is Jewish, and that could be a very dangerous position for her. She could lose everything. She could lose her boarding house.
It. They get engaged temporarily, and they have this party, and he gets a brick thrown through his storefront window that has hate speech written all over it, and it's like, it's very interesting how Cliff is sort of caught in between this Sally MC nightclub, what have you, fun, and then like people I know are being directly affected by this, and he's like walking this line between them both.
So it's really interesting, and especially like when I did this show the first time, it was in 2014, but when I did it the second time, it was 2017, and that was when I was like, whoa, this whole show is just really relevant right now. Because there was a scene where I'll get back to the hierarchy of needs.
I'm interested in that.
There's a scene at the end of Act 1 where, from Sally's perspective, this was the first time she really started to understand that this was affecting the people she knew. And our director in that production, Peter Caracappa, he was telling us, or the people that were in the Kit Kat Club, the like ensemble members, I want you all to pick a stance politically, not necessarily personally. It doesn't have to reflect your personal views, but your character. You're either with the Nazi Party, you're in between, you're not with them. He was like, but I want you to pick a stance. And in Tomorrow Belongs to Me, you get to choose whether you want to fully commit to the number, you want to be a Nazi, you want to join them, you want to believe in what everybody's singing about, you want to be unsure about it or whatever. And I remember shout out to Carolyn France, because she is, if you know her, she is the sweetest, like
amazing,
most lovely person, and she chose to be a Nazi.
Wow.
And I just remember looking at her and getting tears in my eyes because I knew that wasn't her. But that's how I felt in my real life when I realized people in my life who were of a certain political party and like, who were voting for people that I didn't necessarily agree with. And it's that like stomach drop feeling like where like
betrayal.
Whoa, I didn't know this about you, but now I do. And that changes everything. So that was really important, I think, for us to be able to share with an audience. That moment of like, oh, there are people in the Kit Kat Club that are at this party that agree with the Nazi Party or what have you. So that's why I say this is just timeless, because there's always going to be that. There's never not going to be that. As long as we have politics, we will have this show.
Absolutely. And wow, that's great on your director for making that choice too. And, also goes to speak to how important the ensemble is, because that can change the whole mood of the scene, right? Depending on what sort of support or lack thereof that they have in this, that changes the whole mood of everything.
And it was really, I mean, the whole show was just such a collaborative process, and there was a moment in that show where the band drops out and everybody's singing a cappella, and Dan Gallagher, shout out to Dan, he added some harmonies in that too, and they were beautiful, but it was so haunting to hear how beautiful those harmonies were, and people are singing this really haunting number.
terrible song. Yeah.
One of those things where I'm standing there and I'm like having to be in character, and I'm like, God, I love theater. Like, I love theater so much.
Yes. Oh man. Wow.
So, oh man, I could go on about this forever. So as far as the hierarchy of needs go, as long as we're on the subject.
Absolutely.
I just spent, when I was writing my notes, I spent a lot of time thinking about everybody's hierarchy of needs in this show. And because I work with a lot of people who are under a certain income and, just simply can't be bothered to really care about politics because they're just trying to survive.
Right.
And I think Sally's one of those people. And that's how I empathized with her in the show, is that she's, just trying to survive and live life to the fullest and make some money and fall in love. Well, maybe not fall in love, but like maybe in her heart of hearts, that's what she wants. Right. But she just, what she really wants is that physiological safety, which is at the bottom of the hierarchy of needs. Right. And then there's the emotional safety and love. And then after that is all the other stuff like self-esteem and self-actualization and all of that. And I realized, I'm like, wow, Sally really doesn't have much flexibility. Or at least she doesn't have the flexibility that Cliff has. Because Cliff is this, it seems like he comes from money. Right. He's traveling, he's an American, he's in Berlin, he's just there for inspiration. And Sally is kind of like, she's like, you have no idea. Like, I can't leave this place. There's a point where Cliff asks her to leave, and she's like, I can't leave. Yeah. What do you? This is my home. These are my people. Right. And so I just thought about that because I'm like, man, why wouldn't she leave? Why wouldn't she get away from this? Right. But there's something to be said about like, this is where I live. And this is where I'll stay. Right. Come hell or high water, like, these are my people. Right. Even though she's from England, like, the Kit Kat Club is her home. Yeah.
Wow. That's so funny you put it that way, because right now I have family members asking me if I'm coming home to Canada. Yeah. And it's like, no. Right? I bought a house. I have a great job. I have this community here. It's like, this is where my life is. Yeah. And even if I don't agree with everything that's happening, which I don't, it doesn't mean that I don't believe in the people that I know. Right?
Yeah. And I think that actually brings up another good point that I didn't think about intently, but like, there's a really big point that you make about community. Yeah. And the Kit Kat Club is a community. Right. Cliff really, I mean, he's there and making friends and meeting people, but he doesn't really have a community there. So he's like, come on, let's go. Like, come back to America. And she's like, no. Right. And I think that's how strong community can be sometimes, is even in the throes of like really tumultuous stuff politically and, otherworldly, your community is what's going to support you. Yeah. And so I think that that's another reason why the show is so timeless, because there's a lot to be said about, doing what you need to do to survive, but also leaning on the people around you. Yeah. And finding that community in either the Kit Kat Club or your boarding home or wherever. Right. So yeah, that's the hierarchy of needs.
Yeah, I love that.
You didn't know this was a psychology podcast, but today it is.
I love that. What are your thoughts? We haven't really talked about the MC that much, because he's sort of like this. A narrator is a bad term for it, but he comes in and out, and some like the Joel Grey version, he's in a full suit. He's definitely more creepy, but then we get Alan Cumming version. He's like naked all of the time, and it's more of a sexy thing. And sometimes it's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, depending on your production. What are your thoughts on that character?
So the MC, I don't know that I have many thoughts about the sexuality of him. Maybe you do, but my take on the MC, one of my favorite quotes that I've ever told about theater is from this one-off YouTube video that I watched years ago after I went to the Stratford Festival in Canada. And there was an actress, her name was Sarah Topham, and I saw her in a production of The Misanthrope. And then I went on like a Stratford rabbit hole on YouTube. And there was an interview with her for something else. I think it was Romeo and Juliet. And she said, theater is not what happens inside of you, meaning the audience. And theater is also not what happens inside of me, meaning the actor. Theater happens in the ether between us. And I think about that every single show that I do. And I think that's what the MC is there for. Because the whole point of Cabaret is to make you feel like you're a part of it. And the MC is there to like break that fourth wall and to sit with audience members and maybe make them a little uncomfortable and to have them, you know, question things and also to fall in love with him. Yeah. I think at the end of the day, the MC has to be a likable character. And I certainly think ours was the one in our production that I was a part of. He actually was in it with me both times. He played the MC both times. So, yeah, that was really special. Oliver Ord. Shout out to Oliver. So, yeah. Do I keep kicking you? No, that's a chord. So, yeah, I think the MC... I know, it's interesting because there's this whole story.
I know.
And, like, you don't forget about the MC because he's, like, one of the most important parts of the whole show. But he doesn't really have a place in the narrative, really. Right. Yeah. But what's interesting is I think he really is... You know, I don't really know what I'm trying to say. I don't have any like solid formed thoughts about him other than I just think that he's there to bridge that gap between the audience and the actors.
He's one of the most interesting things for me. Like, I'm always curious when I go into a production of Cabaret, how are they gonna handle the MC? Yeah. Right? And it's whether he makes you uncomfortable. I'm using he because it's traditionally a man, but like I think the MC could be anybody at this point. Yeah. That it's like you never know what he's going to do next. And I think he is there to make you uncomfortable but still intriguing. And sometimes that's in a more creepy way, but sometimes he's being uncomfortable by like rubbing his nipples or something. Like both of those live in that world of am I in this nightclub right now? How am I supposed to react to this? Right. And you sort of, he's always, if it's funny or sexy or like he gets really sad when we get into like, I don't care much, like that's a devastating song. And then sometimes at the end, he like is in a concentration camp and that's the end of the show. And or sometimes I saw it a few years ago at Barrington Stage and it was like
so good.
I know. And like all the lights come up and it's the original production. They had this big mirror on the back wall and it was sort of like very similar feelings of like you are part of the show but not in the way you want to. And it's like we all have to look at each other and say like, is this the reality that we're accepting? Is this so
the first production I ever saw of this show, I was in my early 20s. I had just come back from college. Yeah. And I was hanging out with my friend Catherine, and this was playing at Park Playhouse. Oh, okay. Or Playhouse Stage Company, I think is what it's known as now. And I had never seen it, never heard of it. I had heard of the movie, but I didn't know what it was about. What it was, And she was like, "You don't know?" And I was like, no. She's like, I'm not going to tell you anything.
Oh, good.
And I was like, okay. And then the ending happened. Oh. I will never forget the way I felt when I saw the end of that show. Yeah. My heart was beating so fast because you know what's going to happen. Well, I didn't at the time, but once you realize, you realize. Yeah. And man, I was like, oh, this is, again, it was one of those moments where I was like, this is theater. Like, this is why I do theater. Flash forward to a few years later, actually, this is a side note, but the girl who played Sally, Shannon Rafferty, in that production, I know her now personally, and I totally fangirled when I realized that she played Sally in that production. I was like, you played Sally? I was like, you made me want to play that role, and then I went on to play it 2 more times. Wow. She's like, oh my God, so fun to meet you, weirdo. Just kidding. She didn't say that. She's the sweetest person ever.
That's very cool. Oh man. So what makes this one of your favorites?
Well, I think mainly because it's timeless, but also because you can do a lot of things with it. Some of my favorite shows are shows like Godspell. well, I guess hair could be one. Well, hair you can't really do a whole lot with in terms of interpretation, but shows where you can kind of play around with the style.
Sure.
As we're seeing now with this new Broadway production, you can really tweak it to be whatever you want and to be more relevant to the times that you're living in. And those are some of my favorite shows. So I think I love Cabaret for that reason, because you can do a lot of different things with them. Like, I've never seen any production that was the same.
Yeah.
The one at Barrington was a lot more gender fluid than most productions that I had ever seen.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know. At the time, I didn't know how I felt about it, because I was like, they wouldn't have had this back then. But then I was like, they wouldn't have had a lot of these things back then.
Sure.
So, like,
right.
You know, step off your high horse, Brittany, and just watch the darn show, you know?
Yeah.
So I love it for that reason, because even if there are things that I would have done differently, it still makes you think.
Right.
So I think that's why I love the show so much. And there's just a part of me that no matter how many times I see it, my heart sinks every time.
Yeah.
And when you realize what's happening, and like, I love taking people who have never seen it before to go see it, because I'm like, oh, you got to see this show. I'm like, it's going to break your heart. It'll be fun. Come on, let's go. So that's, I think it's just a show that people have to see.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I've actually never met a person that doesn't like this musical.
Yeah, I think that is a giant red flag if you meet somebody that doesn't like Cabaret.
Yeah.
If you don't like a production of Cabaret, sure, but like the show, the bones of the show.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
like musical theater 101.
Genius.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that it is, if you don't know the show, you probably know, like, life is a cabaret, old chum, and that's all you know about it.
Yeah.
You probably think it's just some nightclub thing, and that's it. And that's the genius of it, is it starts that way, and it's just like, haha, don't tell mama, and it's just like, whatever, things are fine, and it's like, oh, things are a little bit not fine, and then it's like, oh, things are very not fine, and we're just like, you just watch this sinking ship happen, and I love that. I love the devastation of it. Yeah. Right.
Can I ask what your interpretation of the MC is? Do you have an opinion?
Yeah. I don't. It's very funny. I'm interested by him, but I don't know if he's like, I don't have a solid read, and I like that it's different every time.
Yeah.
I like that in a few productions I've seen, he's sort of like the orchestrator of events. Like when Sally starts singing, maybe this time he'll like bring the microphone out for her and things like that. And I like when he's sort of the puppet master of things, and just like, it's almost like he knows what's going to happen because he's sort of outside of the story of the rest of the characters.
Yeah.
And so it's like he's deliberately manipulating the audience into like, you know, welcome in, this is going to be fun. And then it's like, but he knows what's going to happen. So he knows the, you know, he has all those emotions lined up. I'm not being very articulate about this.
Well, it's hard. That's why I asked, because I'm like, maybe you have more words for it, but he's such a hard character to describe. And like, the MC serves a very important purpose, but it's like, I don't know that people have expectations for him going in. It's just kind of whatever the actor chooses and the director chooses for the character is, I think, what's so interesting about that character.
Yeah.
I just want to check to see, because I know I wrote things on this. Oh, I already mentioned all of this. Never mind.
Amazing. Well, thank you for bringing Cabaret to the table. So my show today is Chicago because it has so many things in common with Cabaret. It is also a Kander and Ebb score. Also was directed by Bob Fosse. I feel like there was a third thing now that I'm forgetting about. Liza Minnelli. Liza was in Chicago as well. So the original production premiered in 1975, and the original run only ran until 1977. It was really overshadowed by A Chorus Line, which also came out in 1975.
Right.
And that at the time became the longest running Broadway musical of all time, and it ran for over 10 years, I think. Probably because it was like bare stage, actors do not wear costumes. It's like a Chorus Line is a very cheap show to run. So it ran for a long time. Not that it's not great. I love A Chorus Line too. But So this, also similar to Cabaret, it was based on a 1926 play of the same name by Maureen Dallas Watkins, which was based on 2 real-life court cases of 2 women who were accused of murder, named Beulah Annan and Belva Gardner, who in the play became Roxy Hart and Velma Kelly.
Oh.
So for those not familiar with Chicago, the beats of the story are Roxy Hart is a young wife and cabaret singer. She has this extramarital affair where her boyfriend promises that he's going to make her a big star. He's not going to do that. He's just using her for sex. She finds out about that and she shoots him dead. That's the first number of the show.
It's a wholesome family piece, really.
It really is. So Roxy goes to jail. She meets the other women. This is where we get the cell block tango. So good. She meets Velma Kelly, who is also a vaudeville performer in jail for murdering her husband. She meets matron Mama Morton, who is sort of the ward of the prison, and she's very much, if you give me money, I'll make things happen for you. I'll get you a good lawyer, whatever you need. So Roxy gets a good lawyer. They concoct a story to stay in the headlines, including faking a pregnancy. Long story short, she's acquitted, and the beat goes on. She was a big star when people cared if she murdered somebody or not, but now that she's acquitted, the story goes on.
Right.
So, the things that I'm really interested in this show, I talk about this all the time, but I'm obsessed with the relationship of Gwen Verdon and Bob Fosse.
Oh, yes. Did you watch Fosse Verdon?
I did. I love that show. And that's where a lot of this knowledge comes from, is that Gwen Verdon campaigned for the rights for this show for a long time. And she was really instrumental in its creation. And they didn't get the rights until the author of the play died in 1969. And so then they finally were able to get it together, and it premiered in 1975. But Gwen Verdon had been attached to this project for so long that she was 50 when she played Roxy Hart.
Wow.
I know. And so I always think it's funny when I see like young girls playing Roxy, like girls in their 20s, and it's like, I think Roxy is supposed to be like middle-aged.
Interesting.
I would love to see a production where Roxy is like 35 plus, because I think it adds this whole dimension of like, she is so desperate to be a star.
Yeah.
I think if she's older, then it like shows she's been trying this for so long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I would like to see that too, actually.
Yeah. And then it's like, she's not the only one. So it was Gwen Verdon in the original Broadway cast opposite Cheetah Rivera, who was 42 when she played Velma. And then Anne Ranking in the revival, she was 47 when she played Velma. Wow. So it's like sort of this history of middle-aged women.
Yeah.
But we definitely see it now of like Roxy is like a young 20-something ingenue.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see older Roxys.
Yeah. I think we don't get enough of that on Broadway or in theater in general.
Yeah.
Like typically, the most sought after actors are like the young spring chickens, but like we forget that like we can incorporate older people too.
Yeah. And it just, there's so much more experience that comes there. And I think just, the heartbreak of when her fame goes away is even bigger if it like seems like her last chance to do something. Right? Yeah. So the 1996 revival is what people sort of know now when we think about Chicago, the sort of black lingerie, the version that's still running. This was a revival. So it started at New York City Center Encores, and this production was actually choreographed by Anne Ranking in the style of Bob Fosse. Okay. So it's actually not all Fosse choreography,
right? Except
for Hot Honey Rag, which is Fosse, and that stays intact.
Beautiful.
Which is incredible. When I saw it here, it was honestly like the actors were just floating doing that choreo. It is so perfect, and like I don't know how to dance, and I will never at this point in my life. But goddamn, if I don't love watching people do Fosse choreography and do it right. It is so incredible.
Bob Fosse really nailed the power and stillness.
Yeah.
And there's something, I use that as an actor. Like, whenever I feel like I'm moving around too much, I'm like, Bob Fosse would hate this right now. Because he really is like just small, like little movements. Yes. Greg Marsh, who choreographed our 2017 production of Cabaret, added some nods to Fosse and his like little, like subtle movements of like a wrist twirl or like an ankle twirl or, one of these guys.
Right.
I don't know what you call that.
I know.
Flowy arms behind the back. It's a classic Fosse move.
Yeah.
But yeah, he really, it's like, you know, when you see Fosse choreography.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think a lot of his moves came from like he started as a dancer and his body didn't do the same things everybody else was doing. So he was like, well, I'm this weird lanky kid. I'm going to move the way that feels natural to me.
Yes.
And then it all came this singular style of choreo, which is like, yeah, you know when people are copying it and you know, like, it's so Fosse.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's amazing.
So by the 90s, in 96 when this revival premiered, true crime was more accepted in culture, which I think was a big factor of it doing so well. Like in 96 we have the OJ case and we have like unsolved mysteries and like people are more interested in crime now.
Yeah.
And of course, similar to Cabaret, people are also interested in seeing women in skimpy outfits on stage. So it's still running. It continues to run. It's currently the second longest running Broadway musical at over 11,000 performances. I looked today, it's about 2,000 behind Phantom of the Opera. So if it runs for another 5 years, it'll, at 8 shows a week, 52 weeks a year, in 5 years, it'll overtake Phantom as the longest running musical of all time.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can't believe it's still running. I honestly forget that sometimes.
I know. And I think now, similar to A Chorus Line in the past, it runs for a lot of the same reasons. I think it's pretty cheap to run. There's no costumes. There's one set. I've heard the Ambassador Theater is weird and has a small backstage, so like other shows don't want the theater. And of course, they have weird stunt casting. They put Real Housewives in there now, but like I think Chicago is one of the shows you can go see as a tourist for cheap. Like Wicked is expensive and Lion King is expensive. So if you're like, you don't know anything about theater and you want to see a Broadway show, you're probably going to go see Chicago because you can get a ticket under $100.
Yeah.
So that I think are reasons why it runs. But yeah, I mean, it's such a fun time. I saw the production at Colonial Little Theater that just ran, and it's like, there's nothing not fun about that show. Yeah.
It's funny that you say true crime because it's like I did not even make that connection.
Yeah.
But thinking about it, I'm like, oh my God, this totally was the true crime of that era.
Yes, absolutely. And in the Colonial Little Theater program, it said when the play premiered, that was like the birth of the modern celebrity.
Wow.
Were sort of these criminals that people were talking about. And it's like that interest in true crime has always been there for a lot of people, I think, because it's like neighborhood gossip to the next level. But you know, I don't think it was as social. It's never been as socially acceptable to talk about it as now, but definitely in the 90s with, you know, OJ's trial being televised and everybody watching it and things like that. It's like, you're not weird if you like true crime at that point. Yeah.
You know what's funny? I'm sitting here thinking about like, because we were talking about displacing styles and all of that. And I'm like, it would be cool if we did like a modern version Chicago, because now that like social media is a thing and all of that, I'm like, but how would we displace the style? I was like, I feel like that might be Orange is the New Black, the musical.
You know what? True.
So I don't know. Someone get on this. I don't know. Whoever's more creative than I am and can write a musical, just, you know, thank me in the playbill or something.
Yeah.
But Orange is the New Black, the musical, I think, is the new modern day Chicago.
Netflix, get in our email.
Yeah.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I would love to see a modernized Chicago. I mean, the revival is sort of like timeless, I guess. It is still 20s, but because of like court limitations, like you still can't bring a cell phone into a courtroom, right? So it's like there are all these traditions that keep it to keep technology out of it. So yeah, that would be interesting to see. Roxy goes viral. Roxy starts a TikTok account.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Velma does the TikTok dance. I don't know what the newest dance is on TikTok, but that would be crazy.
Yeah. I don't know if people are doing many dances anymore.
I know.
It's crazy. Yeah. Except for the pop music. Are you on TikTok?
Not anymore.
Speaking of choreo, Molly Long is like exploding right now on TikTok.
Okay.
She's this choreographer that like, I'm getting off topic, but she came into my brain earlier, so I'm like, this is a good segue, I guess.
Absolutely.
But her style is very unique as well.
Okay.
Very, I don't want to say Fosse-esque, but the movements are very controlled, and it's just very unique in a way.
Yeah.
So that's one to check out if you're into innovative choreography. She
it.
choreographs for a company called Project 21, I think it's called.
Okay.
But she had this dance go viral on TikTok called Pop Music. And it's a really good dance, and her choreography is amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, that has nothing to do with Chicago.
I so appreciate
everything to do with choreography.
I so appreciate a good choreographer. And like I said, when I love working with choreographers and dancers, and because I just appreciate it so much. And I love a tap dance. I often say I'm a slut for tap dancing.
Me too.
I don't know how to do it, but just goddamn, I love tap dancing.
So good. So good. I took tap for a while with Freddie Ramirez.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
He gave me private lessons, and it's just so fun to like make a bunch of noise with your feet.
Yeah. So great. Just harks back to like classic era musicals and Hollywood and Fred and Ginger and all that. Just floating on a cloud, tap dancing. Amazing.
So good. The classics.
The classic. Brittany, thank you so much for being here today. Yes. Is there anything you want to plug? Anything you want to shout out while you're here?
I'm not really working on anything right now.
All right.
Come see me run the Mohawk Hudson Marathon in October, though.
Amazing.
So I'm training for that right now. I'm going to be kind of slow because my training is few and far between, but that's okay. Other than that,
shout out to Lulu.
Yeah, shout out to Lulu, my dog. I'll
put a picture of her up so everyone can see how sweet she is.
Yes,
she's so
please.
Cute.
Oh, she's the best.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Two Show Day is hosted by me, Diana Shabai Booker. Cover art is with contributions from Ivy McGurran. If you'd like to get in contact with us, please visit our link tree at linktr.ee/2showday.